Language learners, what can I do if I just don't feel motivated? Again, this is such a frequently asked questions by my students that I now decided to do a whole video on it to help you with it because motivation, yes, of course, it can be, it can be a day where you just don't feel like doing anything. We all have that. We are human, right? I am talking here about this feeling of when you feel you have to study out of guilt or obligation. This is usually a problem of the study technique and the study method, not so much of your motivation. I want to deconstruct in this video three factors that you can turn around or become self-aware of that help you to identify, am I just not motivated because I feel bad or I feel a bit under the weather, or am I not motivated because I'm using the wrong study technique? Alex, for those of you who are new here, welcome to this channel. I use the best success gems out of social psychology to have you speak with unshakable confidence in your target language. And let's dive straight in, because not being motivated because of social psychological factors is actually something that you can become self-aware of and eliminate that so that you actually keep going without having that feeling of, oh no, I have to practice the language again. No, we don't want to feel like that. So number one is whenever you have that feeling coming up of guilt, and in order to do that as well, I ask you to be completely self-honest and self-aware. This is all about you. It's not about a language teacher. It's not about a language course. It's not about language. It's not about anything else than you. And if you're ready to do that, this can actually boost the way in which you can get things done in life in general. This was a huge revelation for me when I started with social psychology, because I realized self-awareness is always key. So analyze yourself. Whenever you want to study your target language, when do you feel that feeling of guilt and obligation creep in? When do you have that? And whenever you have that, start to think, okay, what would I actually feel guilty for? Or what would I start to feel obliged to do? So is it that you had planned 5 minutes a day to memorize vocabulary lists? Or is it that you had planned to study 5 minutes a day, the grammar, how you form the future tense in your target language? Well, I completely get it. I used to have that as well with my first foreign language, which was English. I set myself these unrealistic targets of, sorry, but I have to say it like this, of boring stuff, of memorizing context-less, to completely not related to my real life vocabulary lists that obviously I would feel this is just an obligation. Okay, whenever that feeling creeps in, you need to then analyze, okay, what would I have normally done? And there is the culprit. You need to eliminate what you were going to do and switch that around into something that brings you joy. So the element actually you need to change is, okay, if you want to memorize vocabulary, only vocabulary gets memorized quickly that has relevance to your real life. First of all, you need to study sentences of things that you actually want to communicate. So never study, pieces of vocabulary by itself. So don't study all the parts of a bicycle on a page in a book. It doesn't bring you value. It doesn't add value to your learning experience. What you could say is, okay, where is bicycle riding relevant to your life? And then study sentences that you would use whenever you practice a bicycle trip or bicycle repair with somebody you have to talk to. So, for example, rather than studying those 5 minutes, how all the different parts of a bicycle are called in the target language, I would think, okay, maybe actually I had planned to get the I don't know, some technical detail of my bike repaired next week. What would I say to the shop assistant to help me out on this problem? Or I had planned a bicycle ride with a friend. What would I say in the target language to organize that? And then you get words about bicycle riding, and you get the social interaction, you get relevant sentences for that experience. So switch that detail around about your daily 5 minutes of language practice, so you eliminate that element of obligation and guilt, because obligation and guilt kick in whenever we feel something has no relevance to our life. It doesn't bring value to our life. It doesn't help us communicate better. It doesn't help us to manage our life better. And the target language you're learning needs to help you out for something. So that is the first one. Second one we touched upon already partly, which is cramming vocabulary. Vocabulary is helpful, but only in meaningful, relevant sentences. So you need to organize, first of all, your whole study routine around what is my objective in the language? Which context do I want to use the language in? So, for example, if it is for your next vacation, for traveling, of course, you will then reorganize your language routine in terms of, okay, which kind of experiences do you want to master in the new language? For example, at arrival at a hotel or at hostel, what do you say to the owner or to the receptionist? How do you organize your stay? Maybe a phone call to ask about details, maybe communicating with locals about their recommendations for your journey, stuff like that. So the vocabulary memorization needs to be about sentences you can already see yourself in the future saying for your real experience. And also, apart from the relevance for your real life, it needs to be something that is simple. So focus on sentence structures that you can say, oh, yes, that's a short sentence. I can remember that, or I can jot it down on a piece of paper. And then whenever that situation comes up, I can pull that out and it will help me. And also, I just actually described it. It has you switch to those future memories, to those dreams, to those things that you feel positive about and that you will want to live in your future life. And so immediately your brain goes out of guilt and obligation. Your brain will change into enjoyment, because you want to reach those future goals. And also you want to reach that dream of, maybe going back to that example of traveling in your target language and having really good experiences with locals. So that is for the second one, the cramming vocabulary. That, I mean, almost all my students tell me that this is usually not a joyful experience. And the third one is, this is something that also goes with the traditional learning concepts that we had that worked for past times but don't work anymore for fluency. You need to avoid in your daily practice not to speak. You need to speak as early as possible. In my previous videos, we talked about that. You need to, even on an A1 level, at a beginner's level, you need to have A1 fluency, which means if you know only as much as greeting in the target language, at least practice that, because then you can with full confidence actually go into holiday situation or first situation in the target language. At least greet the people in their language and say something like, hi, how are you? I'm well, thank you. Are you traveling? Are you enjoying your travels? And be prepared to answer these questions. And that is what is so important. It's A1 fluency. You need to be speaking all the time with your objectives in mind. And then you kind of lift yourself automatically out of that guilt trip of, oh God, I feel so obliged to do another repetition of that vocabulary on that app that doesn't really serve me. Even if you're studying with app, and I mean, apps are so useful, and I myself, I love artificial intelligence, all the applications that are out there, but pick and choose. Only choose those elements from the apps that that actually add value or that are relevant to your future memory that you want to master in your target language. So that is actually the most important criteria to select anything that you absorb in your immersion in the target language. You need to really filter out those things that are relevant to your life, that bring joy to your life, that make you laugh, that make you feel, oh, I actually have a success moment in that, because then your brain will go into, oh, this is really important. I will keep memorizing that. And this is using basically the fundamental laws of social psychology, because your brain in any social interaction will switch into high memory mode whenever something is highly important and very, very, very positive in your life. Anything that feels good and is relevant to your life will be memorized. So you need to kind of tailor your study routine to that criteria, and you will make sure automatically in that obligation is no longer a topic, guilt is no longer a topic, and also you will start to go back automatically to your daily practice because it will feel good for you. So drop me a comment how this resonates for you, and thanks for watching. Thanks for spending this moment with me, and see you in the next video.